Demonstrating Plasma Physics and Electromagnetic Induction. Jaleed and Ahmad, Mississauga West. The actions conducted in this video are neither condoned nor encouraged by the experimenters. This experiment deals with extremely high voltage, enough to seriously injure or harm another human being. The most amount of care possible was taken while conducting this experiment. Please do not try this at home. The purpose of this experiment was to determine whether a high-voltage power supply can be created using the 220-volt AC outlets in normal households, using a combination of electromagnetic induction and reversing polarity. Furthermore, the purpose was to then use the supply to ionize oxygen gas in the air and demonstrate the physics of plasma. The hypothesis was that using a high-frequency alternating current and an electromagnetic induction transformer, we can convert the 120 to 220-volt AC current into 40 kilovolts, a voltage so high that it would liberate electrons of gas particles in the air and effectively plasmify it. Project materials. The first thing we needed was a way to get the electricity from the wall outlet. So I ripped off the plug from an old extension cord and cut the end so that I could use it for the experiment. The second thing we needed was a way to control the voltage from the wall, as 220 volts directly into the transformer would completely burn it out. Furthermore, we needed a high-frequency current, so I went and bought a fluorescent light ballast. And lastly, the most important component was an old flyback transformer. How does a flyback transformer work? A flyback transformer is built up of a magnetic core and a primary and secondary coil. The current in this transformer is allowed to flow until the primary coil is completely saturated, and then it is completely cut off. The magnetic field created by this current collapses and induces current into the secondary coil with a reverse polarity. This happens very quickly, and the direct current provided from the ballast is stepped up to a very high voltage. The procedure was as follows. We soldered the end of the wall plug into the neutral and live wires of the ballast. Using a tube light, we determined which of the 6 wires coming from the other end of the ballast were in use, and set them apart from the rest. We soldered these wires to the primary coil terminals of the flyback transformer. We then created a chicken stick so that I was safe and connected one end of the secondary coil to it. The first picture here is the schematic of the ballast. The ballast has an input of 120 volts alternating current, and through a series of diodes and transistors, converts this current into direct. The 2 upper arms of the schematic then connect into the primary coil of the flyback, pictured above. Safety measures. For this experiment, I used a chicken stick to keep myself away from the approximate 40,000 volts of electricity that are produced. Furthermore, I also used the one-hand rule, keeping my left hand in my pocket so that electricity passes through me into the ground, instead of circulating through my body. Secondly, what I didn't use, which I should have, is mineral oil as an insulator for the flyback transformer. Mineral oil is an excellent electrical insulator, which would keep the current in the flyback confined and prevent it from jumping over to other components and pins in the device. The electricity comes through the wall and is converted into DC current by the ballast. The ballast then provides the flyback transformer with a constant voltage, and this voltage is then magnetically induced from the primary coil into the secondary, with reverse polarity and very high frequency. This increases the voltage almost 100-fold. The results are as follows. Wait. Good. The arc that is produced is a form of plasma. Plasma is the fourth state of matter and the one with the highest amount of energy. What is happening is that the current that is being produced is so high that it has an affinity to jump through from the high voltage output to the high voltage ground. This liberates electrons from the oxygen in the air and ionizes the gas, effectively creating a plasma arc. High-voltage power supplies, like the one created in this video, are used in a variety of different industries. These can include security screening, medical imagery, mass spectrometry, industrial processes such as plasma gasification, undersea power, electron lasers, radiation therapy, and many, many more. To conclude, the experiment was a success. We effectively transformed the electricity from the wall and produced a high-voltage power supply, with a capable voltage of upwards of 40 kilovolts. We also learned, through some research, that electromagnetic induction and polarity reversion is an excellent way of upping the voltage. We also learned how a high voltage can jump through the air and create plasma by liberating the electrons from the gas. We would like to thank everyone for taking the time to watch this video. Jazakallah ahsanal jaza.